moment. Nobody I know of, and there's a lot of great people that cover the Big 12, but Robert Allen, who covers Oklahoma State Sideline Reporter, also host of Triple Play, pokesreport.com, joins us, tied in as anyone can be. Thanks for your time, Robert. We appreciate it. It's been kind of quiet, it seems like, with Oklahoma State. Your thoughts about what you've seen so far?
Yeah, it's been a little quieter here than it is, say, down in Norman. I think Mike Gundy is now I know he hates what happened to his brother Cale, but I think he's glad that his preseason's gone, a lot smoother than what Cale's did. But no, it's been a good fall camp. In fact, not that many injuries. A couple of players so far, and while I think that's set them back a little bit, it's nothing that they can't get over. There've been a lot of guys emerge, which they at several positions where they needed to emerge. Still waiting to find that running back, but you know what, guys, you can't pin down a running back, and I'm not talking about talent. Dominic Richardson's talented. Jaden Nixon out of the Frisco area is talented. Ollie Gordon, the freshman out of Euless Trinity, and then DeAndre Jackson, the kid out of the transfer from Texas A&M. They're all talented, but what you have to find out is who's tough, and you don't really find out the toughness on a running back. Is he going to get up, take the ball, go again, until you start putting guys on the ground? And Mike Gundy, while they've been physical in practice, they haven't put guys on the ground yet. That's probably coming a little later this week. We'll see then. But that's going to be a big measuring stick to determine which guy gets the first carry on Thursday, September 1st, against Central Michigan.
I don't know how it's going to translate in college, but you mentioned Ollie Gordon, who played at Trinity High School just outside in Euless. But weren't there some games when he had against like South Lake Carroll and some of where he had 40-plus carries in games in high school?
Yeah, but as you know, Smokey, I mean, there's one thing carrying the ball in high school in Texas.
Know.
Well, Euless Trinity plays. I mean, I'm a Texan. I grew up in Dallas a long time ago, but Texas high school football is probably, and I'm a little biased, probably the best high school football. And when you get to 6A now in Texas and even 5A, that's a very high brand of football. A lot of good football players, but not like rushing the ball against Division I defenses.
Mm-hmm.
So with Ollie Gordon, you've got to find out when he gets smacked pretty good by Xavier Benson, or when he gets smacked pretty good by Colin Oliver, how quick is he going to get up and want the ball again? That's what you've got to determine, and that's what we're waiting on that side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball has been pleasant. Linebacker, I mean, I'm not going to say that there's anybody here that's Malcolm Rodriguez or Devin Harper, okay? But Xavier Benson's got a resume, having started a year at Tech, and then what he did last year in Tyler Junior College. He was the Defensive Player of the Year in that conference. My son was a head coach in that conference. I've watched a lot of Southwest junior college football. That's a good grade of junior college football. So Xavier Benson's got a pedigree there that I think he can be really good at linebacker and help him out. Derek Mason has said he's going to moneyball the rest of these. He's got 4 other guys that he likes to play. Some of them are a little better on run. Some of them are a little better on pass coverage. Some of them are a little better going wide, sideline to sideline, and some want to get their nose dirty and go right up the A or B gap as a middle type linebacker. He's going to moneyball. And when I say that, just try and have the right guy in at the right time to make the right play. So that's something to monitor. Secondary's been really good. Corey Black is a Waco guy you guys are aware of. Jabbar Muhammad is a DeSoto kid. And what a lot of people don't remember, they were the 2 corners that played most of the second half of the bowl game against Notre Dame. And that's the half where Oklahoma State pretty much shut down Jack Cohen and that Notre Dame offense. So those guys, they've got some backups. Cam Smith is a kid out of Braswell, Texas, redshirt freshman. A long corner. He's 6'2", and you love seeing corners that have got that kind of height to them. he's emerged as a backup. I was a little surprised there because he skipped over a couple of older guys. And then a kid from Booker T. Washington in Tulsa, DeMarco Jones, is the other backup corner. Safeties, they're pretty good there. Kendall Daniels is a big-time high school recruit that is a redshirt freshman. He's going to be probably one of the three safeties with Jason Taylor and Thomas Harper. So they're in good shape, and that defensive line's loaded. I'm not worried about the defense. For Oklahoma State to be good, they've got to have a run game, and I really don't want number 3 to be a major part of it. And that means there's got to be a running back that's going to get the job done. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, that kid that was there last year, Jalen Warren, Pittsburgh Steelers bumped him up to number 2 on their depth chart this week. So he was pretty good. And we all of us around here, we knew Jalen Warren was pretty good, and no excuses. But I would have loved to have seen him play in that championship game. I think that might have changed a few things, but it is what it is. You play with who you got.
Robert, Spencer Sanders last year took great steps forward. And, I don't know if he's ever going to be what maybe the recruiting services thought he was going to be, but he's certainly kind of put a lot of the doubters to rest on, being a really good college quarterback. Have you seen steps forward this year from him to where he can build on last year?
Yeah, I think Spencer's in a good position and a good frame of mind. You go back that bowl game with Notre Dame, which was the school's biggest comeback in a football game. It got him past the bad taste in his mouth from the loss to Baylor in Arlington. I think he's in a very good place, and he's got some young targets to play around with, some guys that have grown up from last year like Jaden Bray and John Paul Richardson, and a veteran that missed last season in Braden Johnson that had a medical condition and got a second opinion and found, he won't say what it is, but he pretty much found a miracle cure, and he's out there. And so Braden Johnson's a definite difference maker. And I'll throw out a name you guys are probably familiar with, because Oklahoma State and Baylor and Mississippi were the 3 finalists on this guy. Do you guys remember Langston Anderson?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Midlothian Heritage?
Absolutely.
Well, he has not played a lick here because he's hurt. He gets hurt. Last year, he's set to start the season opener, and he breaks his foot in pregame warm-up. He's back. He's got a good frame of mind. He's practicing well. And I told him the other day, I said, hey, Langston, if you get to the season opener, I'm going to come out all 62 years and gray beard of my fat body, and I'm going to walk you through warm-up. Now, I promise you won't be warmed up, but I also promise you're not going to go fast enough to get hurt. So you'll make it to the kickoff. So I'm teasing him. He's a great kid, and I'm anxious to see what he can do. There's a reason that Baylor and Ole Miss and Oklahoma State were fighting pretty hard for him right up to signing day.
Yeah, I remember that recruitment very well, and I remember how big a deal it was when Oklahoma State picked him up. So looking at the roster, is it him in the mix? Obviously Presley, the Green Twins. Who else am I missing there?
Well, one of the Green Twins has gone to what they call the Cowboy back, the kind of tight end, H-back kind of morph position. And that's Blaine. Blaine's gone to the Cowboy back. Bryson is still playing receiver. He's in the mix. Jaden Bray, Braden Johnson, and Langston Anderson. That's probably your top 4 at the 2 wide positions. Brennan Presley is in the slot with John Paul Richardson. That's old Bucky Richardson's kid. And then Braylon Presley, the younger brother who's a freshman. And he kind of had his welcome to practice moment Saturday, caught a screen pass, got 1 block, and then went 70 yards. And Thomas Harper is one of the starting safeties. It's actually Devin Harper's younger brother. I asked him after practice, I said, what did you think? And he goes, I'm out there, and I've got an angle on him, and I had no chance. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So, yeah, he's got he's no bigger than a hiccup, guys. He's 5'7", 160 pounds. I mean, he makes the running back at Kansas State, Deuce Vaughn. He makes Deuce Vaughn look like the Jolly Green Giant.
Like he's Derrick Henry.
So yeah, like he's Derrick Henry. But if you can't catch him, you can't hurt him. And he's a fast little slot receiver that they're going to try and make some good use of. But yeah, I really the running back question's huge. The offensive line, until we see them in a game, they really look good in practice. They come along, they get tested every day because that defensive line beats on them pretty good. So I'm anxious to see. Preston Wilson is a kid from Argyle, and he's moved to the center position, and that's where Charlie Dickey always thought he belonged, and that's been a real key to putting this offensive line together, getting Preston Wilson at center. And again, in this league, every center in this league, every guard in this league is going to be measured by one game. How do they do against Apuika and Jackson Player? Yeah. I want to know the notes on Jackson Player, because you put him next to Ika, man, I'd go to war with those two.
Well, they are. I think, that was an amazing addition, no question about it.
They're moving Player around. I mean, he's playing a little bit, it looks like, everywhere. But, I mean, they're going to have a nose tackle rotation, Robert, unlike, I think, really anybody in the country outside of maybe, like, the elite recruiters out there, because of the fact that, you can have Ika and Player on the field at the same time, or they're going to have Ika out there. He's going to be at nose. Then Player comes in, and then they've got, other guys in the D-line that Gabe Hall or potentially that would – so almost 3-4 nose tackles deep alone on that D-line for Baylor.
Oh, and you know what? Oklahoma State's going to do the same thing with defensive ends.
Yeah.
They've got Tyler Lacey is now at 3 bills, so they're floating him inside from one defensive end, and then they've got Brock Martin and Colin Oliver and the Walter Sheed youngster from Munster, and they've got Trace Ford back from knee injury. They're gonna mess around with that defensive line a little bit and try and get really fast and athletic. Meanwhile, at Baylor, they're putting the Waco wall up there in the middle. So, in fact, that's a good nickname. You guys ought to
the Waco wall.
The Waco wall.
Yeah, I'm still kind of dumbfounded that Bucky Richardson kid is not at A&M. I mean, that guy. If there were players that needed a kidney, there are people at A&M would be like, "Oh, Bucky gets my kidney." Mm-hmm. That's how big he is there. But yeah, Waco Wall's a great name.
Well, and here's the thing. Mike Gundy was asked this just the other day. How'd you end up with John Paul Richardson? And he had 25 catches last year as a freshman, and in fact had a catch of a deflected ball in the Baylor game, in the championship game, that kept that drive alive. That, of course, ended on the inch line or 2-inch line or 3-inch line, whatever you want to call it. But he had no drop. The other day, Casey Dunn told me, he goes, "You want to know something about John Paul Richardson?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, he had 25 targets and he had 25 catches. In fact, that deflected ball wasn't really intended for him. So he had 24 targets and 25 receptions last season. So now that's not a big sample size, but to have no drop. And Mike Gundy commented the other day, he goes, "We're lucky." He goes, he was under-recruited for whatever reason. And Mike said, "It's amazing to me because not so much just A&M, but anybody, Bucky Richardson was not just a good quarterback, he was a good athlete. And in the NFL, I think he was one of the original guys they kind of used as a dual threat at that level. Now it's good to see Bucky and his wife at Oklahoma State games. They're having a good time, and John Paul's a great kid, so he's a good kid to have on your football team.
Robert, it's poll season, preseason poll season, where all these, AP coaches, everything else is coming out. Oklahoma State seems to be hovering in that top 10-ish range, right there, bumped up with Baylor and Oklahoma. It seems like that's kind of the clear three in the eyes of voters and coaches who have put out their polls. Your thoughts on that and where the Cowboys stand? Do you see them as a top 10 type team?
I think they have a chance. But again, just about everything for me with Oklahoma State, and I think they're probably about in the right spot in the polls. Now, I probably wouldn't have put them 23rd like Kirk Bowles did, but, that's Kirk's business. Dig, because anybody at Texas, they probably shouldn't vote Oklahoma State down. They probably should vote Oklahoma State up. But no, I look at it, and I probably would have put Baylor ahead of Oklahoma, and then either Oklahoma or Oklahoma State after that. And I just say that because, I'm a big fan of what Dave Aranda's done. I'm a huge fan of the Waco Wall. Every time you guys have me on, all I do is sit here and gush over Ika.
Yeah, it's great.
Golly, LSU, those people should be crying. They should have done something to keep him from leaving Baton Rouge and heading to Waco. But other than that, the polls they're fun to talk about.
Right? Yeah.
They're the first thing I did was I started looking at different voters because I kind of wanted to see who voted what where. Because to me, that's kind of the fun of it. The real polls start when those voters in Irving get together and start posting their rankings, and that's what counts. And so I think Baylor's got a chance to be there. I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be Oklahoma State's first conference game. Baylor's got Iowa State the week before, but that'll be a really good early season test. And I'm anxious to see what the Bears do against BYU.
Oh, yeah.
You guys will make the trip to Provo, won't you?
No. We have people who will be, but we have high school football, Robert, on Friday night. We'll be.
Oh, that's okay. I got you.
Yeah, we'll be.
I got you.
Yeah. Wish we could.
We'll be halfway there.
Yeah, we're going to be
in Odessa.
We're going to be doing a game at Permian in Odessa. We're halfway. Paul said we're halfway to Provo. But
who's playing Permian that weekend?
Midway. Midway is.
Midway.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. No, neither one of them are what they used to be, but it's still two very nice programs. Obviously, Permian and Midway as well. Hey, man, we appreciate you. Can't wait to see you ourselves, and look forward to having you on again.
All right, you guys have a good. I know the cold front's supposed to hit us tonight. Our high tomorrow will be 80 here, which that'll be welcomed.
Wait a minute, there's a cold front coming?
Hey, Robert,
yeah.
you put all of it. Yes, any kind of emotional weight you can behind that. And shove that
please,
down
just whatever you can, blow it this way. Thank you.
I'll put my real weight behind it, and you'll probably get it by midnight.
Robert, you're the best, man. Appreciate your time. Oh,
all
my
right,
God.
see you guys.
Robert Allen, Oklahoma State sideline reporter, does his own show as well in the market, Stillwater. Great guy.